Hi YouTube, M6EB here, back again with another video. Today I wanted to do a video on the Ailunce HD1 again. Now I wanted to do a review of how, I've had the radio 12 months now, so I've had some comments in some of my other videos asking how I've found the radio after owning it for 12 months, any issues I might have come across, what it's like to live with, etc, etc. So I thought I'd come out in the car today and film it in the car just for a change, just a bit of a change of scenery, and also I've got a good coverage here for a couple of repeaters, so if anything comes through on it we can have a listen to it at the same time. So yeah, there's the radio anyway, after I've owned it for 12 months, still just like it came out the factory. Brilliant little radio. Anyway, I've made a few notes here, so we'll have a look. Yeah, so first of all I wanted to say thank you to everyone who's subscribed, everyone who comments, all the emails I get, all the likes you give. It really means a lot to me. I really do appreciate it. I try and get to everybody's comment and reply as best as I can, but I've got a busy family life, as you can appreciate, so if I've missed you I apologise, but I really appreciate you watching this video, and it means a lot to me that you've took the time to watch. So yeah, I wanted to do a review after I've owned it for 12 months. A few of your questions. Yeah, if you want to watch the main review, I have done a review of this radio, so if you want to watch that, I'll leave a link in the description to where you can watch the full review, which also has a bit of a programming guide, because a few questions I've had are, sorry, the radio just chiming in there. Yeah, a few of the questions I've had are how to program it, so if you look at my original review you'll see a bit of it there. I also did an RT3S programming guide, which is a lot more in detail, in depth, so check that out as well. I'll leave a link in the description. All DMR radios are pretty much the same. If you can program one, you can program them all. So yeah, I put here that this radio is still my favourite handy-talkie radio ever, and it is. I've owned a few. I've got the RT84, for example, perfect hotspot radio. I've done a review on that, and I think that's really good with a hotspot. So I've owned a few, and the Ailunce HD1 is by far the best. Not even the best one I own, but it's the best one I've ever used or ever seen. I'm absolutely in love with this radio. So yeah, we'll go into the first points. The things I like, the build quality. It's extremely good build quality. You could literally drop this out of a 2-story window and it would be fine. I've dropped it several times. I've got it wet. This is waterproof. I've dropped it, as I say. It's took a good beating. It's been out fishing with me, camping with me. I've used it 12 months and I've used it solidly as my main radio for 12 months, so I've used a hell of a lot of this radio in that time. So yeah, really good build quality. Dropped it several times. Yeah, I put here indestructible, and it's probably a bold statement, but I really do think this thing is absolutely indestructible. I've never had to worry about it breaking. You know, some radios you get and you feel them and you think, oh, you know, like say the Yaesu FT2D, you know, that fusion radio, you'd think, you know, oh my god, if I drop that, the world's going to end, you know. But with this, I could feel I could literally just wind my window down now and throw it out this window, drive over it a few times, and it'd be fine. Yeah, the channel selector knob on the top is so, I know it sounds like a small thing, but obviously you use it a lot over the 12 months and it's so clicky and satisfying to use, you know, it doesn't miss anything. Really good. I've obviously rotated that, you know, hundreds of times over the 12 months I've had it. Absolutely great. So yeah, rugged. Another thing as well is the accessories I find quite good for it. I've got the battery eliminator here. I've used that quite a lot. I use this mainly in the car, as you can imagine, with it being a cigarette lighter port, but also at home I have a power supply with a cigarette lighter socket on it, so I use it a lot for there too. This has got a 3200 milliamp hour battery, so you know, you don't have to worry too much about the battery. Also, we've got the the microphone. Now this is a Retevis mic as well, so I'll put a link in the description of where you can get this from. I got this sent with the radio, so this is 12 months old as well. This is a waterproof mic. I love the connector, you know, this sort of style of connector you can see that goes on the side of the radio there. I love that kind of connection. You know, once it's on there, it's completely waterproof, and this stuff is, I mean, you've probably seen Motorola gear. I mean, I've never owned Motorola, but this is on a par with that to me. The quality of everything is just the same. If you know, I don't really see any difference between this and Motorola, and that is saying something. So yeah, I'm a huge fan. Speaker sounds really good as well on the microphone. So yeah. Going on to the battery life now. Now, as I say, this has got a 3,200 milliamp hour battery, and it lasts forever. It absolutely lasts forever. I have the backlight on continuously with this radio, and it lasts forever. I can't say any more than that, really. I have it on all day. It lasts days on end. I can transmit on it, no problem. It lasts and lasts and lasts and lasts. 3,200 milliamp on a handy radio is brilliant. The power outputs, you've got 1 watt, 5 watt and 10 watt. Now at home a lot I only use 1 watt of power for my hotspot. If I'm obviously out and about like now and I want to get into the local repeaters, then I'll use 10 watts. So yeah, basically that's the power I'm using. Yeah, and the battery's just as good as it was 12 months ago, so I've noticed no deterioration at all. It's absolutely great, you know. This radio's had a lot of use. It's what, 12 months old now. I use it every single day. I wouldn't say I transmit on it every day, but most days. So yeah, that's great. Another point I've made up here is updating the radio and using the CPS the software for it. Some people have had issues updating the radio. I've read on Facebook and stuff that some people have had to update the firmware on it and it's bricked it, or it's not working anymore after they've done an update. Me personally, I've not had any issues. I've updated it to every single version since it's been released. Excuse me. I mean, I had this radio pretty much day one when it got released, I think. And every time they've done an update, every couple of months or so, I've updated it with absolutely no problem at all. I've had no issues whatsoever. The CPS is really easy to use. I've had zero issues with that. I mean, yeah, granted, I've programmed quite a lot of DMR radios, so I'm sort of quite familiar with software generally. But I've had zero issues with it. Each time they release a firmware update, they usually do a CPS update that goes alongside it. So all I do when I update the firmware is I will then delete my CPS and reinstall the brand new CPS that they put on the website. So that's how I use it. And as I say, I've had zero issues whatsoever. I love the boot image. Yeah, this is another thing I've really loved over the 12 months I've owned it. I'll see if I can show it you, if it can go on the camera, if you can see the boot image. Let me just make sure that the camera's focusing on it. So hopefully you can see that. You can use, it's really simple to do. If you look at my review video, I showed how to do the boot image on that review video. So really simple to do, really straightforward, and I've had loads of different boot images over the 12 months I've had it. That's sort of fun in itself, so that's a really good feature of it. I love the fact that the programming software cable comes with it, and the software to program it is completely free. Now a lot of your big brand radios, they'll charge you for the software, they'll charge you for the program cable. This came with the programming cable with the cool side, with the connector pins, so it's a special kind of connection. It's not the Kenwood style, it's the sort of Motorola style, if you will. And it comes with it, and everything you need is on the Retevis resource website. I'll put a link in the description. So it's really straightforward. Everything's free. Love that. Everybody loves free, so that's quite good. Yeah. So next, display and menu navigation. Now let me turn it back on again. So the menu, yeah, the display, first of all, I find it quite high resolution and really good quality. I mean, I don't know if you can see it. Let me just see if I can get it to focus on there. So yeah, it's a really nice display, nice resolution, really easy to navigate menu. I mean, I find the menu so simple to use. You've got a band A and a band B, so obviously you've got the top band, and you can also have it on dual band, so you know you can have one frequency there and another one below, and it'll monitor both. Or I just have the time on it on mine. But it's really just really well thought of. Like if you've got the Retevis RT3S or the Titera MD380, you know, the RT84, they all use the same software generally. It seems to be the same sort of menu system, whereas this is totally different. This is something on its own. It's a totally new system, and it's absolutely fantastic. So yeah, we've got FM radio. You can have 32 radio IDs in this radio. So that is absolutely brilliant. You know, if you're in a radio club or you share the radio with some of your ham buddies and they want their DMR ID, perfect. You can just share it around. They change their ID on the radio, they transmit on their ID. Most radios, DMR, you've got one ID, you put it in and that's tied to you. So that's really good. Another good thing is you can program this without the software, so you can do it all directly on the keypad. Another fantastic feature. As I say, there are multiple DMR IDs. Right, so now I want to go on the reliability. I've had a few questions about reliability. Is it, you know, with it being a Chinese brand, not from the big three, is it going to be a problem with reliability? For me personally, absolutely no worries whatsoever. I've had zero worries. I've had a few questions about it. I had it for 12 months, zero issues. I've taken it everywhere. It's never let me down, and I mean I've taken it everywhere. I've used it every single day. I've taken it everywhere. I've dropped it. I've abused it, if you will. I've thrown it about. I've gone fishing with it. It's got wet. You know, it's waterproof radio, so it absolutely never let me down once, and it's a joy to use. It's every time I pick it up, I just, I mean, it's probably a bit weird to get attached to sort of objects, but you get a real bond with it after time. It just gets better and better and better. So yeah, absolutely brilliant. It gets updated regularly, so Retevis, who own Ailunce, do updates quite regularly. They're always improving on it. I'm trying to think of some of the updates that they've done that I've noticed a positive change, but I can't think of any right now. But they basically update it regularly, and they always it's always improved every time they update it. Really strong belt clip. Obviously if you're using it fishing, camping, outdoors, you want a strong belt clip. Generally speaking, this radio is it's like a tank. It's something the military would use. It's absolutely solid, brilliant belt clip. Yeah, being used heavily, so I've used it every day, used and abused, no problem at all. Now, after sales support, some may worry about this being a Chinese radio. Oh, I'm going to be buying a Chinese radio, it's not going to have the same support that Kenwood or Icon may give. Well, I disagree on that, really. On the Retevis website, they have a full email support, so that you can contact them that way. But the best way, I think, is through Facebook. They have a couple of groups that they're really heavily involved with on Facebook. I'll leave links in the description. So it's not only them, the people who, Retevis themselves, that are active on these groups. Other radio hams are active on these groups. We all help each other. We all have a love for the radio. So there's a good 3,000-4,000 strong member list on those Facebook groups. So yeah, I'll leave a link in the description for the Facebook group. Yeah, look out for a couple of ladies called Vivian, Yolanda and Sherry. Now these three ladies are from Retevis. They're active on these Facebook groups, and so they actually work for Retevis, who help people give updates and news of what's happening, and they're quite, well, when I say quite active, they are very active, and they work for Retevis. And Cherry I've spoke to a few times, lovely lady, and a couple of these couple of these ladies at least have a ham radio license themselves. So that's dedication for you. They've gone out and took their ham test just so they can know their product better. You can't wish for more than that. So yeah, at least two of them have their licenses, and I know that too because I've spoke to them both on ham radio. I've used one of the talk groups going back a while now, but I've spoke to both of them. Yeah, many other active members who offer support on the Facebook groups, so that's a huge thing as well, and Twitter. You know, there's quite a lot of support out there, including the email support that you can get as well. Some news about this radio. APRS is, if you have the GPS model, APRS is coming, so they've said on Facebook. I noticed that this morning, so I'll try and get a screenshot and I'll put it in the video somewhere. But they're working on putting APRS with this radio. What can you say? Amazing. You know, that'd be fantastic. With having GPS, this is the GPS model. That would be a really good thing. Right, now to some things I don't like. There are some things I don't like about this radio, although it's obvious that I'm, you know, in love with the thing. But there are things that could be improved or I don't like. The main one is the DMR database. Now, the DMR database, when I got this radio, was under 100,000 DMR IDs. This radio can hold 100,000 DMR IDs, so it was fantastic. You know, it put the whole database on it. Now we're going on a year later, we're nearly up to 130,000 DMR IDs. So, you know, that's obviously not all going to fit on this radio, so that's a sort of a negative, really, obviously. The Retevis RT84, this one will take the entire 125,000 as it stands today in this radio. So for a hotspot, this is probably the better choice for that reason. You can fit the whole database in it. The website where you get your DMR contacts, if your radio doesn't hold the full database, you can break it down into countries. It would be good if you could break it down into sort of the last, say this is 100,000, whether it'd let me download the latest 100,000 contacts. So, you know, some of the people that have been inactive for so long, at least I'll have the most active people in the database. But it doesn't work like that, unfortunately. The charger base, although it's never let me down. I mean, you know, the charger base you slot it into, never let me down, never had an issue with it. But it's really, when you hold this radio and you feel it, and then you get hold of the charger base, they don't marry up. The charger base is really flimsy, really sort of, you feel that if you drop that, it's game over. Albeit not expensive to replace, you can get them on eBay really cheap, so it's not the end of the world, and I've never had any problems with it. But it's just something I wish they would put a bit more quality into that. The radio reports I've had off this radio, on DMR, they're fantastic. Everyone says, wow, the radio sounds really good. I've had no issues whatsoever, beautiful audio. But on FM, it's not quite as punchy. They say it sounds all right, but it's not got a nice punchiness to it, even with the speaker mic or the radio mic itself. So that's another negative, really. But still fine, still can access everything, no problem. Say I'm on the repeater now, if I was to talk on it, no one would have an issue with it. It's just not quite as good as DMR. So yeah, basically, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate everybody for all your time that you spend watching my videos, taking the time to watch this one. It really means a lot to me. We're over 700 subscribers now, so I really appreciate it. So yeah, are you thinking of buying one of these radios? Have you bought one of these radios? Have you had any issues with it? Or do you love yours like I love mine? Leave comments in the leave your comment in the comment section below, and then we can, you know, get something going and see what the opinion is on this radio. And if you're not a member of the Facebook groups, I'll leave links in the description for those, so go over there, have a look, see the massive support and the massive fan base for this radio. So yeah, thank you very much. Please like, comment and subscribe for more videos. Don't forget to put the bell notification on so you don't miss anything from me. And until the next time, 73.